Hello everybody, this is Makh with iCCupTV, bringing you a match during the beta downtime between the yellow Protoss, Socke, and his opponent, the blue Terran, Jimpo. Before I get into this, I just want to let you all know this is my first game I am casting for iCCup. I was recruited to put out some matches to supplement their live streams, so for now you're just going to see the occasional standalone game on its own during this downtime, just to keep you entertained. Socke was very generous to give us a nice replay pack with some very, very good games, so you'll see a couple of these over the next few weeks. But once beta resumes and release happens, I will be continuing to put out games for iCCup. We'll be seeing mostly the best games from the weekly tournaments and show matches, but also a couple of the games that aren't caught on the live stream. So if you can't catch a live stream, you'll probably be able to get the games worth seeing, and if you do watch the live stream, you will be able to get some games you didn't catch. So won't go any more into that. There will be more of these in the future, so keep tuning in to iCCupTV. And without further ado, let us get to the game. So far on Lost Temple, not much going on. Both players playing very, very standard builds, no one trying anything sneaky. We do have a fairly early scout from Socke looking around the map. He is taking the long route around, which will probably mean this will be walled off before he gets there. So unfortunate for Socke, it's not nice to have to guess what your opponent is doing for scouting. To scout your opponent, see what he's doing in terms of tech. You'll see a close gateway to the Nexus. This is probably because he's concerned about Reaper play. He knows that his opponent is Terran, and that because he has been able to scout, a Reaper could be on its way, so keeping all of his buildings close and tight to each other, he'll probably lay down a second pylon just to make sure that this gateway can't be shut down by early pressure. And most likely we're going to see a Cyber Core, followed by a Zealot, and then when Cyber Core is finished, a Stalker. So a standard anti-Reaper play early in the game, and then he'll transition to whatever else. Finally getting a scout out from Jimpo. He is also taking the long way around, so he will similarly not be knowing where his opponent is. Probably won't get a good scout out, because by the time he gets there, there'll be an awful lot of Protoss units here. So this probe finally gets here. He's going to be shoot off by the Marine. He does see this reactor, but that was probably too fast for him to click on it. So he probably doesn't know if this is a tech lab or a reactor. We'll probably be checking again in a short while. Meanwhile, we do have that Cyber Core down in the Protoss base. No Zealot immediately, so I guess he's just going to be rushing that Stalker, instead choosing to place a second gas. Not a bad decision at all. This is a large map, so if a Reaper Harass comes, he will be ready because of that Cyber Core, and if it doesn't, he will have the gas to transition into Tier 2 in what is a large map. The probe, I don't see what happened to that poor probe. Let's take a look. He is retreated back to here, but he probably did poke in a second time. He has not. So no new information. Looks like he's going for a second scout now. He's going to finally see this reactor, know that there's no imminent timing attack, most likely. Meanwhile, not much else going on. We do have an early Stalker able to push out that scouting SCV, so now Socke will be able to produce units without his opponent knowing what they are. And this probe did get in to the base. Looks like Jimpo either let him in on purpose or this was an accident, but the supply depot went down. The probe got a look, sees this early command center being laid down by Jimpo. So he will know about this. Maybe he'll try and react. This one Stalker is moving out. Been seeing this a lot from Protoss players. Getting quick Stalkers against Terran is nice because your opponent will often only have Marines. Marines don't have shields, so every damage you do is permanent. Stalkers can regenerate, so they're very nice for early harass, just to annoy and contain your opponent. But this quick bunker will make it impossible for the Stalker to do anything but, surface damage to a bunker, and this command center will soon be floated away. In response, Socke has laid down a expansion of his own, which is a good response. He really can't pressure this. Marines and bunkers are just so durable, hard to harass, hard to destroy. So a 4-gate push was an option, but fast expansion of his own, a good decision as well. So this expansion finally coming down from Jimpo. He did not turn into an orbital command first. Probably just because he had these extra SCVs. Let's check that income tab. He did have a fair number of SCVs, so he probably wanted to get those operating right away rather than getting that mule out right away and saving up some energy while you fly. Tech-wise, do we have anything new coming up from Socke? We have a robo facility and 2 gates, so he'll probably land on a 3rd gate. And this, my guess, is primarily for observers. If his opponent starts to go heavy into Marauders, it's also good for Immortals or later Colossus. But for now, almost certainly just for that observer, because we'll look at what he sees. He got a look at that command center, but if you look at it updated now, this command center has now landed. He has no idea what's going on in here, and this is what he needs to see. He needs to know that his opponent is going for a Marine Marauder combo. there is a Ghost Academy too, so he needs to see this, know that a timing attack could be imminent. Marauders, Marines, and Ghosts can do some very, very threatening timing attacks on Terran players, or on Protoss players, especially when they have this exposed expansion, which will force him to engage. He can contain him at the ramp, but he can't contain him here. He can't use force fields to block him off like he can here. So a timing attack could be very, very threatening from the Terran player. We'll have to see what happens there. Tech-wise, in Socke's base, we do have 3 gateways now, a 4th gateway coming down, and we do have a Twilight Council, either for upgrades or a Templar switch. So we'll have to wait and see if he chooses either or both of those routes. And Stalker is continuing just to shoot, just putting little laser burns on this bunker. Really, no reason to do that except for scouting, see what units are here, let his opponent know that he's still there, and make him, if his opponent's here, Makh, or doing something important, he sees you're under attack, he'll go quickly here and go, oh, that's nothing. So a good distraction. And there's that observer getting a good look around. This is what he needed to do. He did not see the Ghost Academy, but he will see the Ghost. So he knows this timing attack is imminent. We'll see how he responds. Saturating the expansion, more gateways. Are we getting any Immortals? No Immortals, probably because this is not a Marauder-heavy composition. He is instead laying down a Templar Archives and researching that speed. Charge is so important for Zealots. Zealots already great units when it's a large clash. Not so good early game in small numbers, but large numbers late game, very, very powerful. And that charge is just so integral to that process. Really, really necessary against Immortals and just the Terran Bio Ball in general, being able to close that distance and get in their face right away. So a good call getting that charge. And it looks like he's warping in some High Templar, not researching Psionic Storm because he's too short on the gas. So I guess these guys are just going to, so much for knowing what they're going to do, they're actually going to form into Archons. Not sure why he did this, probably because he's probably a little bit concerned about this push. So he is behind in army size, and he needs forces, and he needs them now. The Observer sees this force moving out, knows it's coming. So, Templar that can't cast Psionic Storm, not very useful. Archons could be useful. But to be honest, Ghosts with EMP, they can really do a number on Archons. So not sure I agree with this, but yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. More gateways coming down, so now operating off of 7 gateways, warping in another Templar. Probably because he's so gas heavy right now. He's got lots of gas operating, has from the beginning of the game, so he needs to spend it on something. May as well get some Archons to help push back, and Archons, 60 damage versus biological, so even if they get killed fast, they are a terrible threat. So here comes that push, moving in finally. Nice spread with those Marines in the middle. Guardian Shield's going up. Socke is pressing out force fields to trap this front row, and the EMP going off on the Zealots. Zealots chew up that front line. Archon's doing very well as well, but the wall now protects the Terran players, unable to do any more damage, and the Terran is now pressing in again. Does he have any energy for EMP? He does have enough for one more EMP. He is retreating. There it is, right on the Archon, just like he needed, and he's going to do his best to stim kite the Zealots away. And he is able to do a lot of damage, but the Zealots with charge, there they are, able to chase down those infantry so fast. And it looks like Jimpo is going to be pressed back. His army advantage has been depleted. He's now actually behind, and Socke looking very good right now. Income-wise, both players more or less tied. Army-wise, Jimpo is behind, so we'll see how Socke reacts. It looks like he is going to take down these destructible rocks. That's a really good response from Socke. He doesn't have that big of an army advantage. Trying to push into this could be such a liability. There might be siege tanks in here, and if there are, that push would be a disaster. Instead, let's take down these rocks, expand, know our opponent is not going to press out, get an income advantage to try again later. So has he laid down any new tech? Looks like he is going after Psionic Storm, so we're going to see some just gateway play. No Immortals, no Colossus, just lots and lots of gateways with lots of gateway units, including High Templar, and a 3rd expansion coming up. Meanwhile, any tech switches from Jimpo. He has laid down a factory, looks like probably for a switch. Yes, there is a switch there. So we're going to be getting Medivacs and maybe a tech lab with siege tanks here. We'll have to wait and see. Just other than that, upgrades from the engineering bay. I'm guessing concussive shell still hasn't been researched. Wonder why I did that. That is so cheap. I don't know why you wouldn't bother with that. Probably just forgot. But laying down some more barracks. You can now support it off the 2nd base. So a very, very, very thick bio ball of units with some Ghost support up against a similar gateway build with Templar support. So two essentially mirror match in these two different races. They're both sort of playing their similar play style. And this floating factory moving across the map. This was so common in early beta. Terran players just hated their mech. Yeah, they didn't like their siege tanks, didn't like the Thors, didn't like the Hellions. So they just used these as big flying balloons of hit points to go scout. So we definitely know that no siege tank coming out. Turning a nice Psy Storm there on those Marauders. One goes down, and they're so softened up now. That is just what Socke needs to do. His opponent is so nicely contained right now. He doesn't have that expansion. He's unable to press out. Nice expansion from Socke, so no urgency from him. However, he does have a nice lead, and you really should capitalize on these leads. Don't give your opponent time to tech switch. So we'll see, is he trying anything fancy? No, he's just got Medivacs for now. But having Medivacs available, you can take a small force of Marines and Marauders, drop them in probe lines. No defenses here. But a good thing I checked out, there is in fact a Stargate coming out for Socke, pumping some Void Rays to supplement this army or to harass. That's a really good decision. I like this an awful lot. For two reasons. One, it lets him harass the back door of his opponent, take out some supply depots, take out SCVs, and that if he moves to defend, you can then come through the front door